Hi, and welcome to another episode of Good Critic Bad Critic. I am your good critic this week, Andrew, joined as always by the bad critic, Kyle, here to my left.
What's up, guys?
You're thinking at your left. Yes, go follow us on YouTube, subscribe there so you could see us. And then actually it would look like he was to my right for your perspective. But
yeah, but this is a little behind the scenes,
little behind
guys.
the scenes. Yeah, so while you're subscribing, feel free to follow us on Instagram as well. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And leave a review if you like what you're hearing.
It helps us a lot,
helps
guys.
us so much. So if you're new to the Shindig, the little get-together we have every 2 weeks on Tuesdays is when the episode drop. The good critic, they review the movie positively no matter how they feel. The bad critic, oppositely, negatively,
Yeah,
some might say.
Some might.
It's fun. It's a blast.
We give out awards.
Yeah.
And then at the end, tell your true
we have to give
opinion.
you how we really feel, of course. That just makes so much sense. So the movie this week is Beau Is Afraid. So
written and directed
by Ari Aster. You may know him from his works on Hereditary or Midsommar. Or not. You might not know him. But Beau Is Afraid is the subject of this one. All right, let's do a little quick synopsis.
Yeah. Did you write this?
I did not.
Okay.
I copied and pasted it, and I took a word out, and we're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about it.
Following the sudden death of his mother, a mild-mannered but anxiety-ridden man confronts his darkest fears as he embarks on an epic odyssey back home.
And that's the movie.
That's the movie, I'll tell you what. So, let's get into it.
Yeah, good critic.
I'm not going to do a tagline.
Let's do it.
I've talked myself out of it.
Okay.
I'm going to start by saying, excuse me, had a blizzard right before this. I'm going to say that this movie is titled fantastically because Beau was in fact afraid throughout this entire epic odyssey.
I've never heard you say Odyssey before.
Yeah, I don't like
goofy.
it. I don't like it. Okay, so what made this movie good? You're asking.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
What made this movie good?
So this is almost the perfect portrayal of so many different emotions, right? You got manipulation. You got guilt. Well, emotions and themes. Some of these aren't emotions. Manipulation, guilt, dread, trauma, despair, anxiety. Just to name a few.
Just a few things, yeah.
Let me tell you, it really does capture all of those so well. So, it all cultivates into this idea of conditional love from a parent, right? It should be unconditional, but no. In Beau's world, it's conditional, and that's got to be hard to deal with. So, early on in the film, you hear, he calls his mom, she doesn't answer, you hear a voicemail. It says, "Hi, you've reached Mona. Leave a message if you ever want to talk to me again." Sets it off right there. You're like, what the fuck, this lady? Why would you say that to your child? Well, she didn't say it. She left it in a voicemail. Maybe he heard it. We don't know. That's the amazing thing about this movie. So, Ari, we've mentioned him, right? He does this great job of creating this tension and this atmosphere, and it's written so well. It's dialed in. Like, you feel the unsettlingness of his journey, the frightening anxiety events going on, and you're like, what the fuck? I don't like this. And you're supposed to. It induces all these fears and these anxieties that you didn't feel going into the film. And I'm like, that is exactly what you want when you're watching something. For me, at least. You want to feel what they're feeling, or you want to at least think you do.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's all with really creative and great looking cinematography. How could you not like how this movie looked? It's epic. Heard that word before. So, I understand at times this movie is confusing. I will say that from the get-go. But the message, it never gets lost. Never gets lost. What you give and then what you expect out of a child is very impactful. You learn that his mother gave everything, and it changed their relationship as a whole because she didn't really want this child. She did, but she wanted him to do so much more than what he really did. And that hurts to watch on screen. Yes, maybe you lose a little bit of the nuance while you go in the orphan forest. That part I was a little confused by.
Okay.
But the fear is never lost, and that's the important part, right? Every important question is asked. Does Beau move on from the death of his mom? Or does he go towards it to grief? You don't know. You got to go with him.
You're with him.
You're with him the whole way. And you're like, what? Does he want this sense of freedom? He doesn't know what he wants. That's the crazy thing. Beau is afraid.
Wow.
Right there.
They says it right there.
I do, like I said, it's a confusing, that part of the film. It's that second act, I'd say. It is a little confusing for me, the Good Critic, so that must say something. But it's very important nonetheless. But all this is a bold and brash and brave way to tell this wild ride of a story. It's clear he was affected, Ari, that is, about his childhood. And he does a really amazing job of just showing you this in a structured chaos sort of way. You're thinking, chaos? It can't be structured. He structures this chaos, and he does it well. Okay? It is, it is just, bravo.
Wow. What a great review from a good guy.
Thank you so much.
A good critic. Well, I'll tell you, as a bad critic, my perspective.
I appreciate that.
So, first of all, this movie, its pace, it comes at you, right? The first act is all the way. You're at a 10. But then we are slowed down. So the pace, you're so high up, and then it kind of teeters out, and it just meanders to the rest of the story. You hype me up, and then it dies out. So I'm already getting through this 3-hour movie, and it's slowing down.
I didn't even mention a time because I didn't notice it.
The pace was a little off. It doesn't ramp up. You already ramped up, and then it dies down. Not what I was looking for.
Understandable.
They have a big reveal at the end-ish of the movie.
A great twist.
They have a twist, but it's done too early. It gives you too much time to really think about it. And I'm like, if they had the twist a little closer to the end, it would have been more impactful for me.
Yeah.
So the big twist at the end, I'm going to spoil it right now. His mom's not dead.
What?
Shock. It's a shocker.
Mona Wasserman's not dead?
So
I'm also just... You didn't mention the hat. It's a Beau Is Afraid hat.
Yep, it is.
Sorry. I had to cut you off, dude. Your pace was a little... Boom roasted.
Boom. Thanks, Andrew.
You're
Good
welcome.
critic. This film is labeled as a comedy. Guess what? Didn't laugh one time.
You didn't laugh one time.
Not one time.
Come on.
Not even a giggle. Ari Aster created this dreamlike paranoia state for us instead of going to therapy. Brother, we didn't need your childhood trauma for 3 hours.
We sure did.
And that's why I had to negatively review it.
Understood. Not. Okay, let's hand out some awards. Let's really dive into the good and the bad. So we're going to start with best performance. Obviously, it's Joaquin Phoenix. He does a great job of being this fucked up individual.
He does a great job. I think that's
yeah.
his trauma, too. Wasn't he born in, like, a sex cult or something?
I don't really know,
like, brought
honestly,
up. Something weird.
That sounds traumatic.
Yeah.
So, keep that in mind.
I would say... there was a few performances. There's not a lot of characters in this movie. So I have to give it to Stephen Henderson, who is his therapist, Beau's therapist. First of all, bad performance because he doesn't do anything. He just sits there and, looks creepy. He's a creep.
Yeah.
And plus, he broke his code of ethics. And I can't fuck with that.
So... Let me just ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Did he really break his code of ethics, or was he just hired by his mom all along?
That's the big thing.
That's
probably
the big thing you don't know.
Hired.
He probably hired.
But she probably had to. He had to have. The lie is good enough, as in she would hire a real therapist to act like his therapist.
Maybe.
I think
Maybe.
you can't be an actor like that because if Beau looks into it at least a little
bit,
bit,
is Beau going to look into it? He
looks up everything.
His character, is he really going to look
I
into
think
his
so.
therapist?
I think he would.
Maybe not.
I think he would.
All right, let's move on to best quote. This was the toughest for me because it's not filled with a lot of great quotes. I'm gonna be honest.
There's not, yeah.
I went with the narrator when he's going on his trip. I don't know what you want to call it. You walk many miles, dozens will become hundreds, hundreds will become thousands. Your adventures will continue for years and years. And that's Beau. Like, he's always on an adventure, I guess. I don't really know.
Fair enough. I said the worst quote. I said, "This is Elaine," after Beau finally gets his nut.
Ejaculates.
For the first time in his 50 years of existing. She said, "I really felt that. God, that was so hot. You just busted through that bag." And like, okay.
Powerful load.
Okay. I get it, but have you ever called a condom a bag?
No, I don't really talk about condoms very often, though. So the opportunity doesn't really arrive.
Well, that's what I mean. So it threw me off. Like, the scene was building up to it. I'm like, all right. It just threw me out of the scene. Worst quote, because I was like,
You're telling me that
I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
When she said you broke through the bag, you didn't laugh.
As a bad critic, I can say I did not laugh.
Because I laughed. I'll tell you that much right now.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
All right, so best scene. I mentioned the cinematography. Cinematography, it's fantastic throughout. So this was tough. I had two choices. I narrowed it down to one, obviously, because you can only give the award to one. Or so we say. But I'm only going to give it to one, sorry. So,
Okay.
So Beau's keys just got stolen out of the door, right? This is the whole conundrum into going to visit his mom, which is what he's supposed to do, right? Keys get stolen out of the door. He's in a panic. He's like, I gotta get my keys replaced so I can be safe, keep my apartment safe. Calls his mom. This is when he's sitting on the couch. He calls his mom. The camera's underneath him, and he's like, "Hi, Mom. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna make my flight. My keys are stolen." And you could tell she's disappointed. She doesn't hear it, and it just slowly zooms in as the panic and the dread just creeps on his face. And I thought it was the best shot of the film.
Amen. I will say the worst scene, just because it was so unnecessary. You've brought it up before, the orphan forest, right? He's watching a play, and you go into this animated world about like Beau's alternate life.
Potential, maybe. I don't. Is it his alternative? I
think it's an alternate, or it's not real.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's not real. So we're on this like 20-minute long side story within this already 3-hour-long movie, and it just felt so drawn out and unnecessary. I'm like, why are we watching this when it has nothing to do with our story?
Yeah.
It was very unnecessary.
I cannot connect it. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I will say,
that's my job to connect it.
And I couldn't connect it. Pointless for the story, in my opinion.
It might be. All right, best costume. I just went with the beautiful silk pajamas that Grace and Roger wear, and also they give to Beau.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They hooked him up.
I want to buy a pair right now.
They hooked him up. I don't know. It was hard for me to say worst. I don't know if this is a costume. I'm just going to say just the dick monster. Just...
prosthetics or costume, I guess.
Yeah. I would say just that, because there's just a giant penis living in the attic. And
that's a great metaphor, though.
Great metaphor, bad costume.
All right, good. As long as we can agree on that. All right, best set piece / location. I went with the cruise ship. In his, he has some flashbacks thinking about when he meets Elaine on the cruise ship. I thought it was the most normal looking out of everywhere we went, and that's why. And it's colorful, and I liked it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to do the worst location, only because, like you said, this film is beautiful. Yeah. But I'm a hater of it. I'm a hater.
Should be.
I went with the attic just because it was more confusing than anything. So you go up to the attic, you're waiting for this reveal. There's an old man up there. Is it Beau? Is it his twin? I think it's Beau's like childhood trauma up in the attic with the penis monster, aka Dad. It was just the location wasn't doing it for me. Everywhere else is beautiful and had a good purpose. This one, not for me.
Hey, to be fair, most attics aren't described as beautiful.
Hey.
In real life and in film.
You haven't been to mine, man.
I haven't seen it yet. Can't wait. All right, best song. It's easy. It's when he's doing the dirty with Elaine. Always Be My Baby by Mariah Carey. She has to start it over real quick, but you get that beautiful intro, and it's a blast.
So, there's only one song in it, so...
There's almost two.
Almost
when they're doing the puzzle, remember you hear Vanessa Carlton in the background?
Almost. But I went worst song, Always Be My Baby. Yeah. Only just because she had to start it over.
Killed the vibe.
Killed the vibe.
Killed the bag, killed the vibe.
The bag blew, killed my bag.
All right. Best cameo, of course we're going with Bill Hader. Bill Hader as the UPS driver. Don't even see his face.
Finds the mom's body.
Finds the dead body, yeah.
That's the only cameo, so worst cameo.
Understood.
Bill Hader, you know why? Not funny. Don't even see his face.
The smell was terrible. He had to go in and look, okay?
Sorry, dogs are barking.
All right, and then we're adding a new award. I don't know if you remembered. I forgot to text you to remind you. Best/worst stunt.
I didn't do it, but I didn't think there was that many stunts in the movie.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll give you my best.
Yeah, do it.
Tell me if you agree or not. So Beau, his apartment got ransacked because he left the door open. He lost his keys, obviously. He's going to get back in the building. All the, I don't want to say homeless, but all the unhoused street merchants and monsters get into his apartment. They thrash it. He finally gets back in. He gets everybody out, and he's like, I'm going to take a nice bath. He gets in the bath. And then he sees this fucking giant guy just holding on, struggling above. He collapses into the tub, and they struggle.
Fighting,
and I thought it was great scene, great stunt. Maybe not scene, but it's a great stunt.
Great stunt.
Yeah,
it was such a weird film.
Yeah.
All right, I will tell you my true opinions.
Yeah,
I actually did really enjoy this film.
I like to hear that.
Tough to watch, only because it like you said, it does a great job of making you anxious, making you feel what Beau's feeling, which makes it good, but it's not like easily digestible. It makes it feel yucky.
Yeah. But
yeah, Ari Aster did a great job telling us like the story, like what really happened. I feel like there's low-key some like sexual abuse on Beau from his mom. The vibe was weird, and it was just a great film. I did laugh a lot, actually. It's pretty funny. Right? Like Bill Hader, I said he wasn't funny. That was the bad critic talking. It was hilarious, just him saying, maybe if you called me back, it won't be here.
You dialed the wrong number. He's like, oh yeah, I'll try it.
Yeah. And just like watching Beau, like it's the small things, like things that would suck, but it's not going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
Like he's freaking out about taking the medicine wrong. He's
without water.
You have to drink water. So he's freaking out, has to get water, loses his keys. Like minor inconveniences, but he like builds it up to like this crazy stuff.
Everything, yeah.
There's the happy birthday naked bandit guy stabbing people.
That's scary, okay?
Pretty scary. The biggest confusion I had was, why did the little girl, Tony, drink the paint and kill herself? I did not understand that part.
I don't have an answer for you. I'll tell you what I think. So it's clear that they're trying to replace Nate with Beau. And part of me thinks that Beau was Nate. I don't know where that comes from.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Just hear me out, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was just Tony being like, you're not going to replace me. I'll fucking take myself out and they can have you. It's just the way I interpreted it. I don't know if that's it or not, but it's clearly a fucked up household, so it could have been anything.
But it was mostly fake, right? Like, as in they set it up for Beau to go there. Like his mom, obviously. What was Roger? So funny. He's like, if you hear screaming, don't worry, he's asleep. Yeah. Like I'm like, this is so funny.
He just kept hitting him with yeah, you ready to go home, bud? He's just happy guy.
Like, hey, brother. Yeah. Like, no, it was a good watch.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I do feel like the play was unnecessary.
Yeah, I can't get a grasp on the actual meaning of that. So, that's my biggest gripe with it. But everything I said was my true thoughts. This was the second time I watched it. If the hat didn't give it away, and I liked it more on the second watch.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like, you know more of what to expect.
Yeah.
I kind of got the Truman Show vibe at the end when they're, like, having, like,
a lot of people's theories.
Well, because, like, he's on the boat in the middle, and then you just see everyone. It's, like, the reveal of, like, everyone's been watching him. Everyone's a part of it. Yep. And they're having a trial if he's good or bad.
All because he might not really love his mother.
Well, he's not. He's just... He thinks he's a good person because he doesn't do anything. He needs to be told what to do to make sure it's the right decision. Right thing,
yeah.
Which is
it's not the right. Don't get me
not
wrong,
the right decision.
I wouldn't say he's it.
I don't think he's.
That is.
Yeah, I don't think he's a terrible person, but
right.
I think he is a pussy.
Yeah, I mean. Because clearly he's just been running from his fear like the whole time, and he doesn't have the support or the help to understand or to face it. And you can't run from fear; you have to face it.
Yeah, and his mom is trying to help him, like
just
face
making it extremely worse. So it's great. The length doesn't bother me. The twist I liked the twist the first time. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Mom's alive.
Yeah, mom's alive, and then I was like, I don't know. It's not perfect, but it's really solid. And
It's a solid film.
So
Also, like when she's like, "My mom hated me," and it pans to the picture of the grandma just staring, like, loved it. It's hilarious.
it's really funny, honestly.
Dark humor. Like, I understand. I was reading people like they're like, my theater, no one laughed, and others like they're like everyone was laughing. You saw it in theaters, right?
Mm-mm.
Ah,
I
okay.
didn't see it in theaters.
I was curious to see.
It was only in theaters around here for about a week, if I remember correctly, and I didn't catch it.
Fair enough.
Bummer. I wish I saw it in theaters.
So did I.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
All right, rate it.
6.9 out of 10.
Hey, funny guy. So the original watch, I gave it an 8. This time I gave it an 8.3.
Wow.
Slightly higher.
Yeah.
Just because it's an epic ride, and I liked the majority of it.
It's a wild ride for sure.
Yeah. So we definitely spoiled it, but it's you honestly, if you haven't watched it and you just listen to this, you probably don't understand what we just talked about. So I still would recommend watching it.
Yeah, watch it. It's wild.
Not if you struggle with
mommy issues.
Mommy issues, yeah, that would be at the start. And thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Leave a review if you liked it, and if you didn't like it, shut the fuck up.
Why'd you listen to the whole thing?
Yeah, sucker.
Bye.
See ya.